Hey, welcome back to Living in Minnesota. My name is Joe Carmack, and it's already December. That means it's time for your next real estate market update for the Twin Cities. So grab a pen and paper. I'm going to walk you through exactly what you need to know if you're thinking about moving to Minnesota, you already live here, and you want to buy a house or sell. I'll let you know what's going on right now, and I'll give you my predictions for what's coming up in 2023. Hopefully you guys like the format I switched to last month. I'm going to do that again this time. So again, let me know in the comments, do you like the old style or do you like the new style? But I'm going to take you right in and show you exactly what's going on in our system here. So we'll start you off with month supply of inventory, which is always what we do. You know, we want to be between 4 and 6 months supply to be a balanced market. So as we can see on the graph here, I've got this pulled out all the way back last month for November. So this is your December update reporting through November's numbers. We came up a whopping 0.1 month supply. Let me zoom this in for you. So we continued our trend as I was expecting. We're going to expect that number to start coming up as the market has been shifting. Now, is the market crashing? If you don't know the answer to that from me for the Twin Cities, you have not been following the channel, but make sure you follow along because we're talking hyper local. The market is just not crashing here. What we are seeing is that there's a casual, gentle trend happening of the market shifting from being a really extreme seller's market into being towards balanced market. We're still very much in a seller's market in the Twin Cities, but it's not as extreme as it was. Personally, I'm loving the market right now just because it has been really miserable for buyers and very, very out of balance. So hopefully this trend will continue. We were at 1.4 last month. We're at 1.5 this month. So that's not a very significant change at all. I'll go ahead and pull in here for our monthly. So that was the rolling annual 12 months. Here's the month-to-month change. So like I had said, if you look here, every year we kind of peak out and then we start dropping into what would be more of a seller's market technically during the winter months. However, like I had mentioned last month, the winter is definitely more favored towards buyers. These numbers are just lagging a little bit in how they report. So don't get confused. It's still very much a buyer's market in the winter comparatively to the summers. But because of seasonality, this number just goes down to appear to be more of a seller's market. So we were expecting that anyways. We did. You can see we went down 0.3 month supply. So it's about a 15% change. That's not very significant. That's what we expect. As we were watching this bell curve, we were up in here and we expected that to go down. I'll pull that out a little bit for you in case you're newer to the channel. And I've talked about this quite a bit. The last 2 years really since the pandemic happened have just been very, very different, complete anomaly for what we would expect to see. We were hoping and expecting our market would be shifting anyways. Then the pandemic happened and then it flung us in the wrong direction that we didn't want to go. So that brought it to being more of a seller's market. And you can see this is that gentle curve that I was talking about. We really bottomed out here, crazy business, earlier part of this year. That's why they've started pushing those rates up so much. I'm not going to get into global economics. I mean, that's way above my pay grade, but I will say it seems like what they're doing is working, at least for us locally, to cause the market to change, but not to all of a sudden flip to an extreme that we don't want to go. So the market is shifting. But I think we're actually at a pretty good pace. I like how gently it's curving. The numbers are what I expect them to be. And that's what I want to keep seeing. I want to see a gentle curve. I don't want to see some big crazy spikes. Second thing we'll talk about is days on market. Now this one's the most important thing that, or maybe not the most important, the most common thing that I'm seeing people talking about just in conversations with people. I'm like, hey, feel like the market's shifting to you? Yeah, my neighbor listed their house and it was selling in hours before and now it's selling in weeks, So people have the perception that days on market has spiked. However, they're forgetting about seasonality in Minnesota, which just doesn't apply to a lot of the rest of the country. So as I look at our days on market, we actually sat flat, which I was surprised with. This would be the third month since September. That rolling number, we're on the rolling 12 months here. We're still at 13. That's the median number. Let's look at the month-to-month change. So as you would imagine, days on market goes up during the winter. Just there's fewer buyers that get into the market and there's sellers who maybe didn't sell over the hotter summer months. And so they're left onto the market, keeping that supply without having the demand come with it. So as a result, our days on market does always go up. Very normal. As you can see, this is what a normal seasonality looks like, from very few days during the summer months to the peak. And we peak pretty much always right around January every year, as you can see here. So with these numbers reporting through November, I'm expecting that the next 2 updates will have this number going up. Okay, so let's see if that pans out like normal. But again, I wish I could just kind of remove these from everyone's brains for the last 2 years, because that was very much an extreme that we don't want. I mean, we want to get away from that. So I want this actually to be going up, and actually didn't go up very much. Last month to this month, we went up a whopping 2 days on the market, which isn't great. I would have actually liked to have seen that more. So this would actually argue against there's a big crash happening and oh gosh, the sky's falling. I mean, 2 days on market is actually disappointing. That means there kept a steady amount of demand relative to the number of listings that we have. So I don't love that number. Our averages wasn't anything particularly different as far as a shift there. And then again, we got to keep a broader perspective on things. So the fact that we're still only at 13 days, that is incredibly fast. If I pull this out to our maximum there, you can see it's still among the fastest we've ever had home selling. So that's not necessarily ideal. One of the main factors that's affecting that is the number of new listings. Now, just as in the last screen, I said that kind of suggests that would make an argument for there not being a crash and supporting that. This is the one indicator that I don't love seeing, and this would be the number of new homes getting listed for sale. Now, it's all about supply and demand. It doesn't matter so much the number of new listings coming in as it does the number of new listings and the number of buyers, right? So if that stays balanced, then it's a fairly equitable market and it's good for both. And you're buying or selling a house, you don't really care if 10 other people are also doing the same thing or if there's 5, right? That doesn't affect you nearly as much as if there's an imbalance. So with our number of new listings, the fact that our month supply hasn't spiked despite the number of new listings come in tells us that our buyers have pulled back also. That's to be expected with those interest rates going up like they have. I mean, we hit like 8% this summer. So that pulled a lot of buyers out of the market. There's also a pull of listings coming out of the market. Partially though, you're gonna see because that was a huge spike. Well, let me put it back in here. We had a lot of new listings hit in the market with the pandemic. Through these times. And so a little extra there thrown in with some interest rates shifting now. That's why we're seeing those numbers down. We don't want this to keep going down. We do want our number of listings to stay in there, kind of in a reasonable area. We had an extra push, I would say, of that. And so we're going to a little bit have to wait for that cycle to come back around, especially with rates that had been super low for quite a while, 2019, 2020, 2018, around that time frame. So that got a lot of people to jump on the bandwagon, maybe earlier than they would have as far as that normal 5 to 10 year cycle of homeownership. So anyways, that one's low. I did not like to see that one go down again this month. It didn't do a huge dip this current month. Let me zoom in for you. So from October to November, it wasn't a huge shift. However, from the peak of our summer, we've come quite a ways down from there. So only 68,000 new listings coming in isn't great. We'd like that to be more like 70 or 72,000 listings getting put on the market in the Twin Cities. Shifting to homes for sale. Now let's pull it back out to the max again. We do like to see this number, which is kind of contrary to the previous number. So we're not seeing as many new listings get put in. That number's coming down, but the number of homes for sale is flat or slightly up on that rolling number. So what does that mean? It means that the buyers have pulled back more than the listings have. And so while there's fewer listings coming in, there's also a little bit less buyers. Some of that'll be seasonality. With this rolling 12-month number though, we actually do like to see the number of homes going up. So it's kind of this weird back and forth. We like this, we don't like that juxtaposition of the two. All in all, what you need to know is we're trending in the right direction, okay? I'm not terribly concerned about the number of new listings. I would like that one to go up. I do think that we'll see new construction helping that out as we're seeing builders able to keep up with the demand a little bit more easily. I'm actually seeing, side tangent, but I'm seeing a lot of builders right now doing lots of incentive things, partially because it's the end of the year and they're trying to pad all their numbers and get as many closed before the year end, right, for their fiscal years and stockholders and whatever. So I'm seeing a lot of that, but I think it's more than just seasonality with those builders. So as they're able to keep up with demand more, we will see more of those listings get put on the market, which we never would have seen before because they're selling before they even hit the market. Maybe they'll list it once it goes pending or something, but they didn't even have a chance to get them onto the market. I'd bring a buyer by and they'll pick one that's coming up before it's actually on the market. So again, that's a little bit of a tangent, but that skews our numbers. Hopefully we'll see more of that happening as builders can keep up with the lower demand. The other thing that people are always looking at is, are our sale prices falling? Now I had a really interesting conversation, and maybe I might make a whole separate video on this topic, but I had seen a graph and it was really grainy. I can't even show it to you. I mean, it looked terrible, but the graph basically said the percent change in sale price for, I think, maybe 50 of the major metros across the country. And what was fascinating was, cities like LA and San Francisco were down like 11% from their peak, which would be for us like June or July of this year. And from that peak this year to where they're at currently, they're down like 11%. I mean, that's a huge, huge drop for those numbers to come down. On that graph, at least, at the same time comparison for whenever they had made that, Minneapolis was down 2%. So I just want to give you some perspective of that maybe 50 or whatever was on the list. We were like number 4 for the lowest amount of price depreciation from the peak. So with our sale prices, let me pull it to that rolling monthly number. What you're seeing right here is seasonality, okay? Prices are always highest in the summer and then they're lowest in the winter, and every single year we do that exact thing. So this is very normal. We would expect all of our numbers to come down similarly. The thing is though, LA, San Francisco, all those are not nearly as seasonal because it's usually fairly warm and people are kind of out most of the year. They still have seasonality, but it is not like in Minnesota when it's -10 sometimes, right? So with that, theirs being down 11% on a less seasonal basis and are still only being down 2% should kind of give you an indication of we're a little bit insulated up here. We're not affected by those extremes. We don't have, Tesla or Amazon or some of these huge corporations moving out of California and into Texas or whatever. We're a lot more balanced, a lot more even keel, a lot more Midwestern. We don't like the rock the boat passive aggressive thing. You know how it is. So I say that to say we are down. You're going to see that in the news. You can see we peaked in June, 380,000, and we're now at 354. I actually am pleasantly surprised this didn't come down any more. You can see for our median monthly number, that's only down $1,500, which is great for our median sale price to be coming down. If we switch that to the average, not terribly different. It just appears like more of a sharp peak and then dropping down. But we're not down. I mean, look at how these drop down more quickly. This is not doing anything terribly out of the ordinary. That I'd actually be okay with a little bit if our prices did come down a little bit more. We did sit flat for our median. So this was interesting. Our rolling 12 months is now at 7.5%. Last month I told you we were up we're at 7.1 now. Last month it was at 7.5. So again, as we roll with that rolling 12 months, getting more of those winter months that are going to be a touch lower, I do expect that to go down. So from our peak of 14.1 we're now down just a little bit from there. So overall, I think we're going to see this number come down. We can't see our sale prices going up like they have been. We're currently up 7% for the year. Where are we going to land? It's anybody's guess. I'm not really too much in the business of trying to predict what's going to happen, but people need to understand when we say sale prices are coming down, that's a good thing. It's interesting how it's like we all have amnesia from the past couple of years. We've just completely forgotten how miserable buyers were. And you remember all those extreme stories, right? I had one client, it was the worst of any of them that had it. Wonderful ladies that were buying a house together, and they were making really competitive offers. I think they had to make 16 offers or something crazy to get their offer accepted. Now that was an extreme. I mean, most of my clients were like 3, 4, 5 offers. But it was at the absolute peak of the summer. It was the prime type of home, what they needed, what they were hoping for. Their price range was a little bit lower. And so even though they were being aggressive, nobody wants to go back to that, right? We all want to get as far away from those days as we can. Homes still need to be selling at a reasonable pace, right? But buyers don't want to be dealing with that. So the trade-off right now, if you're trying to buy a house in 2023, let's say, is it's going to be slower moving a little bit. The prices are not going to probably come down at all. We're still up 7% for the year. We should only be 3 to 4% normally, average. So prices will be higher next year in my prediction, but it's going to be a lot less competitive. There may be fewer homes to pick from that are coming onto the market. However, they're not going to be getting rapid fire shotgun at you. You got to hustle up and go see them instantly when they hit the market. You'll have a little bit more time to breathe. Hopefully things will be moving a little bit slower pace overall. The best homes that are priced well and that are in a really good, modern, updated type of condition will always sell quickly. I don't care what the market is. The ones that are trying to be aggressive on that price, but they don't have a very nice condition of the home, those will be the ones that sit on the market that don't sell nearly as quickly. So for my sellers, it's still important to update your house, to paint it nicely, to stage it well, to declutter, to do those things so that you can get the maximum price for your house and get it sold in a reasonable amount of time. Great example, a couple clients I had recently, one of them was exactly this, almost same price points. One of them was very updated, very tastefully done in a desirable part of town, and they priced it well. They didn't shoot for those stars on their list price. The thing sold, I think we had 2 or 3 offers the first weekend. Similar price point, similar time frame. I think it was the same weekend or the weekend after maybe that we listed this other property. Decent house, decent condition, but we were aggressive on that price point and it sat on the market for about 30 days. So that's the tale of two stories. That you're just going to want to price your home appropriately and make sure that it's updated. Well, that's what's going on in the Twin Cities. My name is Joe Carmack. I'm your connection to all things Twin Cities real estate. So you can find all my contact info in the description down below, and you can find some more great content right here. I'll see you next month.